Are they working?
Testing. Testing.
Okay. Where do you want me to put this?
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to you. May we please make our way into the plenary, take our seats. We will begin shortly. We'll give it another 2 to 3 minutes or so while everybody gathers around and comes through the doors. So let's take our seats. We'll start shortly. Thank you. Well, good morning, good morning, good morning, and hello to one and all. We trust you had an enjoyable evening, whether it was restful or festive. I trust that it was just what you needed to start day 2 of the GEO 19 plenary. It's a beautiful day in Cape Town, absolutely beautiful. And I can't think of a better way for us to showcase GEO's achievements. And that's exactly what we're going to do in this session. We'll draw from the Team Impact category of the 2023 GEO Awards, as well as selected stories from the highlights report. But if you just wanted to pick up 1 or 2 notes from yesterday's proceedings and you're thinking, where can I get that information? You'll find the IISD summary of yesterday's session by clicking on the QR code, which should appear in the screens behind me. If not now, then shortly, while I do the introduction, that QR code will appear and you'll be able to really just capture that and have the information at your fingertips so that you can know exactly what went on yesterday and also have those details for you in case you need to refer to them today or in days to come. Speaking about the day, oh, there we have, voila. Speaking about the day that we'll be having ahead of us today, the morning session is open to all. And again, as you were active participants yesterday, I would encourage us to do the same even today. It is going to be an open session for us all morning. However, session 8, which will take place a little bit later on this afternoon, will be restricted to official delegates. But let me not get ahead of myself. Let's turn our attention back to what we'll be doing this morning. And again, as we said, showcasing GEO's achievements. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce the moderator for this session, Carrie Stokes. I'd like to welcome Carrie to the stage. She's seated right here, ready, willing, and able to facilitate. She is the Chief Geographer at the United States Agency for International Development. I'd like us to welcome her, please, with a resounding round of applause. Carrie, it's over to you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you. I hope everyone has rested well from last night's exciting dinner and celebration of achievements, or if you had another dinner separate from the one that was held at the gala, I hope you are ready for day 2 of our plenary. We are starting this morning in a very special way. We are starting by recognizing GEO achievements. Yesterday, we approved, or the plenary adopted, the GEO 2025 strategy. And this emphasizes the need for transformative solutions to protect our only home planet. Importantly, the direction charted by this strategy is not actually a far-off aspiration. It's already taking shape through the ongoing efforts of our GEO work program. So this morning we're going to hear from 6 representatives of work that has been ongoing and has achieved success. But I also encourage you to review the 2023 GEO Highlights Report. It features 35 impactful stories from around the world. So today we are honored to have the representatives of 6 GEO work program activities on the stage with me. I get to sit next to all of them. During our panel discussion, I will ask the panelists a few questions, and there will also be dedicated time for the GEO delegations to make an intervention. To ensure opportunities for as many delegations as possible, I would like to request that each intervention be limited to no more than 2 minutes. I would also like to request that after you have heard each of the presenters' remarks, that when it comes time for you to make an intervention, would you preface your intervention by saying, I have a question to ask of the panelists, or by saying, I have a statement to make, to share? That will help our panelists collect their thoughts and hear more directly from you if you have a specific question for them. I will remind you of this as we get to that point. But for now, let me introduce our panelists. Okay. Would our first three speakers please stand up? Last night, these speakers were honored at the gala dinner. Let's give them another round of applause. We have three teams represented here. The representatives of each team are Ian Jarvis. Raise your hand. Yep. Lillian Diarra. Yes. And Wang Zhenghua. Ian is the former program director of the GEO Global Agricultural Monitoring Program, also known as GEOGLAM. Plus, he looks so glamorous. He just retired this year, and he is still an active advisor to the GEOGLAM program. Lillian is from Mercator Ocean International and serves as the Communication and Outreach Officer of GEO Blue Planet. And Wang Zheng leads the Global Vegetation Pest and Disease Dynamic Remote Sensing Monitoring and Forecasting effort, also known as GEO PDRS. This is a pilot initiative you'll be hearing more about shortly. He is from the Aerospace Information Research Institute of the Chinese Academy of Science. So, you may be seated. Thank you. Now I'd like to ask our other speakers to my other side to please stand. These three panelists did not apply for the Team Impact Award, but we are recognizing them here because their work has helped to save lives, reduce losses, and conserve nature. They are Angelica Gutierrez, Amos Kaboba, and Aya Takatsuki. Stay standing. Yeah, no. Angelica is co-chair of GEO Global Water Sustainability, also known as GEO Glows, and she is glowing, and lead scientist for water prediction at the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, also known as NOAA, in the United States. Amos is co-chair and GEO Land Degradation Neutrality, also known as GEO-LDN, and Dean for the International Relations Office of the University of Energy and Natural Resources in Ghana. Aya is Deputy Director, Environment and Energy Division, Research and Development Bureau, Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports, Science and Technology in Japan. She has a big job. She speaks on behalf of the Data Integration and Analysis System, also known as DIAS. DS. Please, another quick round of applause. And you may be seated. Before we dive into hearing from each of our panelists, let's begin by watching a short video that provides a snapshot of the highlights of GEO from 2023. Beautiful. So if that video didn't make you feel like the work you do matters, I'm not sure what will. So very inspiring to see some of our achievements visually. Now I'd like to turn to the people who are making these successes happen. I'd like to ask Ian, please, to step up to the podium and tell us about your program and what has led to success.
Well, thank you very much. It's truly an honor to be here on behalf of GeoGlam. And as I was reflecting on the years that I've been with GeoGlam, I was thinking about the number of individuals and individual institutions that have been honored for individual awards contributing to GeoGlam. And this is the first time we as a team has been recognized. And I think this is very significant because team is really central to what GeoGlam is and has become, and it's central to its success. Just looking at some of our flagship products like the crop monitors, if we consider the crop monitor for the Agricultural Market Information System, which looks at major producers around the world, it was our first deliverable for the G20 policy mandate that was given to us in 2011. But every month, 40 institutions come together to preside over the Earth observation information and science to come up with consensus reports. It's a truly outstanding and incredible feat that this happens. So too with the crop monitor for early warning. 17 food security organizations from around the world, both at the national and international level, come together to preside over the information and come up with a consensus report. And this consensus created by these teams really makes this information authoritative and makes it impactful. and trusted by the users, and it's a very broad user community. So as I suggested, there's many crop monitors been produced, many reports. In fact, there's over 200 over the years. But also, there's been a very significant research activity that was started even before GeoGlam really took flight. And this research activity, because we've been able to work so long, it was not a discovery research activity so much as creating operational solutions. So what we've seen over the length of time of GeoGlam, we've seen these research activities turned into truly operational tools that are now openly available as open science resources for stakeholders, countries, institutions to use for their crop monitoring. And having been involved with this for through the whole process, it's been really wonderful to watch how this has transitioned over time. Now, this has of course had great impact in terms of global commodity markets, our original policy mandate from the G20, but also in terms of food security monitoring and crisis response. It's had a tremendous impact. And in recent years, we've been putting more focus on the co-development of crop monitors in less developed countries that are susceptible to food security challenges. And what we found working with these countries, once they own and develop their own information, they automatically trust that information. And because they trust the information, it's quickly put into decisions around programs and policies that respond to food crisis. And this has been very impactful. Now, I just want to conclude with this slide to talk a little bit about what has made GeoGlam so successful. And I've been asked this many times over the years. But really, it goes back before GeoGlam actually existed. Under the power of GEO to convene communities in the 2000s, we had a very strong community of practice with great leadership. And because of that, when the G20 came to us and asked if we could do anything to help food price volatility, we were able to respond. In fact, we responded with a proposal within a few days that was from the community to the G20, which was eventually approved, which resulted in the creation of GeoGlam, and that was 2011. We became really active in 2012, and we were producing operational products by 2013. So also very important, underlying all this is the common interest we all share as we come together. That's really bound us together, and that common interest and good intent has developed trust within the community that has sustained us over these years. And now as we look forward, we see the food security challenges even greater than ever. GeoGlam is redoubling its effort to respond. We're putting more effort into co-development, and I think starting next year you'll see that. And I'd like to conclude by thanking all the countries here that have contributed to GeoGlam over the years, too many to name right now. But I'd also put a call out to countries that have not been involved with GeoGlam who think they may have an interest to please approach us. I think you'll find it a very valuable and useful experience to be involved with this community. And we continue to welcome people and grow our activities. So with that, thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the proceedings.
Thank you, Ian. Lillian.
Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm honored to be here on behalf of GeoBlue Planet. Day 4 already of Geo Week, and after a really amazing award ceremony last night. So I'm representing GeoBlue Planet. I'm from the EU office, which is funded by the European Union, and we work together with 2 other offices, one in Korea and one in the US. Good. So what is GeoBlue Planet? The GeoBlue Planet initiative is GEO's ocean and coastal arm. We are really trying to work towards linking ocean observation with stakeholder needs for information to address different challenges, from marine ecosystem conservation to sustaining the blue economy to really building coastal resilience. So we do this through 3 core action areas. That is stakeholder engagement, really trying to understand what users need in terms of information, co-design and cooperation, This is really helping them to build these tools and fit-for-purpose tools, not just any tools. And also, the last arc is, what is it? Capacity development, sorry. Strengthening capabilities and transferring capabilities so that the tools are actually being used in the long term. We have 8 thematic working groups, 3 of which were launched this year with a big focus on coastal and marine policy. And all of the working groups are contributing to the UN Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development. And we have strong implication of early ocean career professionals in all our activities. And now I'm going to share with you 2 impact stories. The first one is the Sargassum Information Hub, which was launched in 2020 to respond really to the need for data, information, and services for monitoring sargassum. For those of you who don't know what sargassum is, it's a brown genus of macroalgae found in the tropical Atlantic. And once confined to the Sargasso Sea, since 2011, sargassum has been really proliferating and seasonally ending up in beaches on the Americas, the Caribbean, and in West Africa. So what can a bit of seaweed do? Well, a lot. It's devastating coastal activities, it's harming marine life, nearshore marine life, and it's really, really costing these communities, especially communities that rely on fishing and tourism, millions of dollars every year. The Sargassum Hub provides tools and data to be able to form early warning systems as well as forecasting systems to inform timely cleanup operations and harvesting of where sargassum is used for commercial purposes. So it's having some really big impact. It was cited by the CNN. It's being referenced in different scientific journals. And today we have about 40,000 visitors visiting the hub and getting access to all this information, and these visitors are returning. Okay, so yeah, you can see from the images, I think, how this situation is really bad. And the second impact story is on the Integrated Marine Debris Observing System. I really like this image because it makes me think of 30 years ago, not revealing too much about my age. I would go to the beach and pick up seashells. Today, my kids go to the beach, and this is what they pick up, plastic and bits and pieces. And this is just the tip of the iceberg, because this is what we can see on the beaches. So you cannot even imagine all the plastic that's going to the deepest depths of the ocean, to the poles, to the Arctic, to the Antarctic. So this initiative is really trying to provide a coordination framework for a global, interoperable, sustainable marine debris observing system to provide data and the evidence needed to support decisions and policy making. What comes into mind are the current negotiations on the global plastic treaty, which are currently underway and which will hopefully be completed next year. And also to really inform decision making, monitor directives like the EU single ban on single plastic use. And this is what we really need to start really addressing this global problem and save our planet. Thank you.
Thank you, Lillian. Okay, let's now hear from Wenjing.
Yeah, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm very glad to have this opportunity to come here, give you something and what I have done for global vegetation and pest and disease and this understanding remote sensing monitoring and forecasting. And this has been done with our partners and from FO, from CABI, and from GB, and we have done this work together. And you may ask, why we should do this research? Because as global warming, up to about 40% of the global crop production was lost by the plant pest and disease. And it's not only by the crops, just for the grassland and forests. So, for our research, we will combine the different and research and together. We will try to integrate with the Earth observation data and also get some data from FO, for the field survey data from different countries, also get some data from CB International. Because CB International will be focused on how to use pest and disease modeling. So we will get this cooperation together, try to build and pest and disease and modeling and forecasting this system to focus on the pest and disease habitat modeling. How about to modeling hotspot analysis and then do the and risk prediction. And this has been done at the different and from the global to regional levels. So, and for our research now has been covered about 19 major and vegetation pests. And for example, as far as you know, maybe you know the locust, or the fall armyworm, or the palm wild disease, and some differences. So, and this has been used in the 38 different countries and around the world. And somebody maybe ask you on how you use this and who have used this, because you know that, and we have used this and get cooperation with FAO, such as we will get the global warming. Maybe for the locals, they just now and in Kenya, maybe they will fly to the Pakistan or some other countries. Then they will get the global warming, and then some countries, for example, for the Pakistan, and they will get the early warming at the country level. Then, and for the, maybe the agriculture and agri-food department, they will get this warming to the different departments. And you can see on these images, maybe on this red point, and they will be maybe for the pest disease are very serious. Then you can do the vibrate the pesticide application. So, and by this research, and we can try to get them and the list of the pesticide application, and it's about, and will reduce 30% of pesticide. It will be better for our environment. Also, it will, and by doing this, it can reach out and the biodiversity. So it can up to about 10% for our biodiversity by doing this. So, and how we, and we have done this, I think that first important will be the international cooperation, because we have get the international cooperation, and also as the consultant and for FAO. And we also have a joint laboratory with CB International. And we have done a joint experiment also, and it's for the data sharing and people exchange. The second one, I think that for the funding also very important, because we also get some funding from FAO, from some funding from ESA, or from some funding from United Kingdom, also and from funding from Italy. And for this funding, I think we can do some cooperation at a global level to do this. And then maybe you will ask me on how you can service and for this. I think that we have been serviced for the different measures. And for example, we can service the data with FAO. Just I think like an FAO Zhongxin Chen, and you are here. And we will share the metro data with FAO. And also we will get the maybe just like API with GBIF, and with the GBIF and use this for the biodiversity. Then we can get the maps. Maybe we will monitoring this about the pest and disease, this hotspot maps. It can be used in Pakistan, Ethiopia, Somalia, and these countries. We also get some cooperation with CTICC International, and we can get a software to use in English. Yeah. So and I think that we can do this to the extension of work. So thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Wenjing. Now, Ian, Lillian, and Wenjing, you have each shared with us some of the factors that have led to the success of your programs. But many of us in the room are engaged in activities and programs and initiatives, and it's not always an easy path forward. We know there are ups and downs, and there can be all-arounds. We would love to hear from you if you could share with us some of the lessons you have learned along the way in your own efforts. Ian, would you share?
Sure. First of all, I think GEO provided the platform to bring the community together and to be able to share their science, share their ideas, share their aspirations for what we could do with this work and help. And because of that, as I said in my talk, that common interest and the good intent, it really was able to bound everybody together. And again, that was even before GeoGlam existed, so that from there, only good things can happen, I think. And I can't underestimate the importance of that convening power of GEO back in the early days of GEO to be able to bring the communities together that you see before you now. There aren't that many global platforms to do that, and it's been very significant in certainly how we've proceeded. So I think that's important. And the other thing I think I would mention is having a high-level policy mandate is really very useful and very important. Even if you're serving a multitude of stakeholders, if you have that high-level policy mandate, it just makes things much easier, and I think it makes it easier for our various stakeholders to participate.
Thank you. Lillian, do those resonate with you, or do you have some other lessons learned you could share?
Yeah, I have some other lessons learned. Especially for the Sargassum Information Hub, which was launched in 2020. We started collaborating with two ladies, amazing ladies from experts, from the Caribbean, from Barbados, and they've been developing the hub. One is an early ocean career professional, and one is an expert, and this dynamic has been really amazing. They are doing so many wonderful things with the hub. They're developing country pages. It's going to be translated into many languages. They're going to have a viewer, so it's really, really important to actually engage with the communities that are actually being impacted. And just speaking with them, you can feel the gravity of the problem because, okay, sargassum does not come down to South Africa, but there are communities out there, and this is costing them a lot of money, and it's actually really traumatic. Thank you.
And Wengjing, what type of lessons learned would you share?
Yeah. And I just mentioned that for our research, I think that the most important lessons and is for the data sharing. Especially and because we have done this research at the global level, we need the validation in the different countries. So how can you get the validation of the field survey data? It's very, very important. Also very important and difficult to do this. And by overcome this and the difficulties, and we will try to get cooperation with FO and CB International. And also I act as a consultant for the FO, so we can get the field data for the different countries. So this is very important for them to do this and for the data sharing. So I think that maybe and also for GEO, we can share the data each other. It's very important. So I think that for the data sharing is very important. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'd like to know, what would the users of your program, your data sets, your applications say about your work?
Okay, I'll start. As I mentioned, we've been having a lot of returning users who are mostly interested in the data and what monitoring tools and services are out there, particularly for early warning systems, and I think that's a big indicator. And another thing is the citing of the Sargassum Hub, for example, on news channels and being referenced in scientific journals. I think that really shows its impact. Thank you.
Well, our users are extensive and diverse, but starting with our original G20 mandate, working with the Agriculture Market Information System, working with economists. Many of us, do not usually work with economists, but it was quite a great experience because we were able to work with them to co-develop information that was meaningful to that community. And it's not necessarily the type of maps and information that we create for our own community. And that has really had a major impact on that system, and it's now our crop monitoring reports are a key part monthly of their reporting. And I don't think, I think it couldn't be separated out and be able to be as effective without the work we do. And then working with countries has been really rewarding, and that's why we're trying to step it up. Working with countries to co-develop their own systems. I think once countries are developing their own systems, then they can provide information up into the global system rather than trying to provide information down into the countries. And we've worked with a number of countries, of course, and they've been quite appreciative. I'll leave it at that for now.
Thank you.
Okay, I think that for us, and how about the workers, and especially for the users, and especially for some, this global, maybe some pest, for example, for the locust. Maybe some of the locals, they will, and now in Kenya, and they will know, and when, and will, maybe they will fly to some other countries. And this, they will do something about the early warming. They will know and when and where to do the maybe on the and pest disease control, and when with, and where they can do the wide-varied pesticide application. And then they can reduce the pesticide application. It will help them, and when and where. And we will try to monitoring how about it come from, how about and when and where they will go. Then we will guiding the government and the farmers to do and when and where they can do the pest control. And this just gives the feedback for the users. And they mentioned that may be useful for guiding this. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for sharing with us. I would like to ask for another quick round of applause to recognize our Impact Team awardees. Now I'd like to ask you turn your attention to the other three panelists who will be talking about their work program efforts. Let's start with Angelica to tell us about GeoGlows.
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to present this morning. I don't see my slides. GeoGlow's ultimate goal is to improve global water sustainability. In 2018, at the plenary, we provided a detailed description of what we wanted to achieve for GeoGlows in the following 4 years. To create a paradigm in how stream flow information is created and disseminated. GeoGlows represents a significant departure for the traditional approach to hydrological forecasting. In the past, and still in many countries, the figure on your left, limited resources and capabilities led to the use of individual river models for forecasting, leaving many rivers without essential information due to the associated cost of model development. GeoGlows, on the other hand, the figure on your right, adopts a more collaborative and cost-effective approach. By implementing a global river network, it not only fills the information gap for rivers that lack forecast, but also enhances local efforts. This is achieved by providing actionable information that leverages in situ data and local knowledge to make the global forecast local. The river forecast is based on the European Center for Medium Range Weather Ensemble forecast, but routed through a global river network. The GeoGlows service provides a 15-day hourly ensemble forecast and historical stream flow data that is disseminated through a free and open services so that users can develop custom web applications to provide the forecast at scale. Here is our progress since 2018. In 2020, technology was integrated and the service was available through the ECMWF operational environment. From that moment on, the implementation and use of the service have expanded throughout the world. Here are some examples of our impact. Amir Givati from the University of Tel Aviv talked about the use of GeoGlows during Storm Carmel in 2021 and the evacuations of vulnerable communities in the Ayalon Basin and the city of Tel Aviv. Manuel Conde from the National Hydroelectric Company in Honduras explained how the reservoir was managed using the GeoGlows forecast before and in between categories 4 and 5 hurricanes Eta and Iota, saving thousands of lives and millions in property in Valle del Sula. Samuel Gama from the Disaster Management Organization and Lucien Tilatila from the Climate Change and Meteorological Services of Malawi presented financial analysis of before and after using GeoGloss for cyclones Ana and Gombe. Thanks to the 15 days horizon forecast, a 40% reduction was calculated due to better disaster preparedness and response, and not a single life was lost thanks to the early evacuations triggered by the GeoGloss forecast. Finally, led by Dr. Africa Flores from NASA, a water quality forecast was developed and established for Lake Atitlan in Guatemala. A combination of satellite data analysis and the GeoGloss forecast provides daily information on the risk of algal blooms to the lake's environmental authority, benefiting tourism and the livelihood of the local communities. Establishing a transformative partnership among inter- and transdisciplinary organizations for GeoGloss was also a paradigm shift. Today, we welcome our newest members, which includes the U.S. National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, providing the most advanced river network based on TDX hydro, taking us from 1 million streams globally on the initial version of GeoGloss to 7 million streams worldwide in GeoGloss 2.0. Amazon Web Services. This collaboration through initiatives like the Sustainability Data Initiative and the Open Data Sponsorship Program are making significant contributions to the sustainability and data availability of GeoGloss. The World Meteorological Organization. This collaboration is a significant step in advancing global hydrological forecasting and water resource management. The ongoing discussions between GEO and the WMO on implementing products from non-traditional sources like GeoGloss into the WMO integrated prediction system demonstrates a commitment to innovation and to the achievement of the early warning for all initiative objectives. Last but not least, the Nile Basin Initiative has partnered with NOAA to improve hydrologic prediction services for resilience in the Nile Basin through the GeoGloss initiative. Over the next 3 years, we will be working to implement the service in this community. Our future is brighter, and GeoGloss is providing humanity the at-scale potential to respond to climate change and water security. Thank you.
Thank you, Angelica. Quick question, can you all hear me? If you can hear me, will you raise your hands? Okay, I see a few hands, great. I will not shout then, I will continue to use the mic. So, let's now hear from Amos about the GeoLDN.
Good morning once again. Yeah, this morning I just want to say something. The earth is talking. When I was a child, the earth to me was medicine. If I had a cut, I take the soil, rub on my sore, and it goes. Now it's not the same. Now it's not the same. It means the earth is telling us that something is not right. And because something is not right, that is why we need to do something about it. I think something, oh yes. So because something is not right, members of the UNCCD found that there was a need, there was an urgent need. Why? Because we cannot be able to understand our land practices, especially from the developing world. Yesterday I mentioned that you can't stop Africa or the developing world from creating jobs. Creating jobs means that we need more space on our lands. We need more space on our land. We need to do something. We are building more story buildings, which means more timber is going to go. This is all going in the direction of what? Land degradation. And that is why UNCCD approached GEO to establish the GEO LDN, because it was no longer possible for us to use our traditional methods in order to be able to measure and to know when it comes to land degradation. So as a result of that, our German colleagues stood up and said, okay, let us put up a functioning secretariat, because that is very, very important. So the GEO LDN flagship secretariat, I'm happy Mark and Ben are here, but Angie is not here because she's not well. But there are quite a lot of people that are working behind the scene. I want to recognize John and Baron that are always pushing. I want to recognize Neil, who has struggled over the years behind his PC, just trying to think about what value do we put on every pixel of land. In fact, this morning, the message that I want to put across is that land degradation neutrality is all about how do we see that pixel of land and ensuring that we can generate job out of it, and at the same time considering nature-based solutions in order to address that. And that is why it calls for a new way of doing things. And to be able to do this, capacity is very important. The ability to share information, the ability to sit and talk is very vital. And that is why we have engaged in a number of monthly meetings here and there to be able to think about this, but to also emphasize the role of gender. Different parts of our world, land ownership is managed differently. In my part of the country, some places it is the women who are in charge. In some places it is the men. Depending on the gender, this can vary. So this is also something really crucial for us. So just to end with one slide, that we need to talk together. And we, as a result, the flagship decided to have the global dialogue where we sit together, we get teams from the different countries to sit together to come with use cases that they can discuss and talk about how can they inform decisions when it comes to land degradation neutrality. I think this was very useful. And another thing in this particular global dialogue that we did was that aside the issue of gender, language was also critical. So we ensured that during the discussions, translations were done to ensure that everybody really understood what do we do when it comes to land degradation neutrality. So I must say, with the last slide, we need all of you to be part of this network. We want to see your organization in part of this global network that is already there. And then lastly, we also want to mention that one of our long-term strategy is the postgraduate program which we are running at the University of Energy and Natural Resources under this, because it is a long chain of capacity that we need to do in order to ensure that we have valuing our land properly. And to conclude, post-2020, 2030 SDGs, land will forever remain the thing we need to think about. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Amos. Now I would like to ask Aya to please come to tell us more about the data integration and analysis system.
Hi, I'm Aya. I'm new to GEO, so I felt nervous, but I feel quite reassured to see this welcoming atmosphere here from GEO family. Yes? Okay, I'm accepted. So I'm going to present data integration and analysis system DIAS. Japan is a natural disaster paradise. Fire drill, earthquake drill are carried out quite often. My family, these two boys, also practice what to do in an emergency. They have our city's several hazard maps like flood, landslide, fire, and they love action simulation drill. And they told me that they realized from action simulation drill with hazard map, the accurate and credible information and regular practice are the key for disaster response and preparedness. IPCC AR6 Working Group 1 report says intensity and frequency of extreme weather event has increased due to climate change. Besides Japan, the Philippines is one of these high disaster risk countries. Our project, Flood Early Warning System, as OSSR on the Data Integration and Analysis System, DIAS, and the activities of e-learning and on-site workshops for the training of decision makers has implemented in Philippines, Luzon Island in September 2022. A flood monitoring system has developed by OSSR since 2019 that integrate in-situ observation rainfall data from local organizations and GS map from JAXA and provide real-time flood monitoring information caused by Typhoon Noru, locally known as Typhoon Cutting. One of the biggest impact is that OSSR provided a real-time monitoring inundation area. You can call it an early warning flood map. And this flood map helped decision makers to announce an evacuation order and alert during the typhoon period. Data is only information, and we need local practitioners and decision makers who can utilize information. So we made a textbook kind of leaflet as a decision support tool and provide periodical e-learning and on-site training that strengthen response capability. There are three enablers. One is flexibility of DIAS to upload and integrate local information. And local institution, PAGASA, has in-situ observation rainfall data, and PAGASA actively support meteorological and hydrological data sharing. The second is a disaster response coordination. Philippines already established a collaboration scheme among various sectors to respond to disaster. IFI, International Flood Initiative Platform, offers a link the latest science and technology to social implementation. And the third is a year of training and workshops. Practitioners and decision makers has built a relationship of trust, and many decision makers are ready to utilize data. And that's all from me.
Thank you, Aya. Now I'd like to turn our attention to the panelists who have just shared the successes about their programs and ask some similar questions. So we'll start with Angelica. Angelica, you did talk to us about some of the lessons learned along the way with GeoGlows. And you also talked about what the users would say. What I'd like to know is how has GEO facilitated your work?
When we created GeoGlows, our objective was almost exclusively to work on hydrological forecasting. But in the back of our minds, it was the fact that GEO is not a single discipline organization. It's a whole universe of agriculture, health activities, pesticides. Now I learned about this new activity. So it's a whole universe, and water connects us all. So right now, the system is actually, we receive about 20,000 requests for information daily to GeoGlows. So just the universe is guiding now our activities, because we know that our users are not only hydromet services, are other disciplines who wants to do a water quality forecast, or connected to agriculture, or connected to aquaculture, and so forth, disaster. So GEO is providing that knowledge to GeoClose to move forward in our activities.
Thank you. Amos, I'd like to ask, what were some of the lessons that you learned, or you may still be learning, along your journey?
Thank you very much. And the question is very, very important because we are in a learning process. And I think in this room, as I look across, one thing we have to do is to unlearn the negative and to learn the new way of doing things. And this is not always easy. You see, land degradation neutrality, if you look at the concept, it looks beautiful, but when you start to go to the ground, it is not easy. Even it's not easy to implement. And what we just realized from the global dialogue that we held with 15 countries participating, one lesson that came out clearly was that we need to do more for people to even know that this data is available. We have countries that even said we don't even have a land cover map. So as we are talking about Earth intelligence moving forward, it means, it calls on us that we must be able to sit with the countries and try to understand their problems and try to see it in this way. It's just like, if you are in your house, you grow up in a house, every day you have food, every day, morning, afternoon, evening. Sometimes you think that everybody is the same. You may find that in other places, they just need a little of that. So I think the lesson that we need to think about is that GEO as a convening energy should help us to be able to spread a message, especially about the land use issues. And the fact that integrated land use planning is the foundation that we need in order to cement all the other activities. Whether it is disasters, it is resilience, it is vulnerability, it is all about the measures we put on that pixel of land in order for us to move forward. So, in conclusion, please, we need to unlearn and see that the Earth is talking, and in most cases, is talking rougher, and there is no time, and we need to join our hands in order to provide the answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Amos. What would you say are some of the lessons that you and your team have learned, or even are still learning now?
Yeah, it's actually tough to answer something after Amos, right? You gave me a pressure. The lessons learned from the project is collaborative work to create credible information, disaster response coordination to implement and announce evacuation order, and training and simulation and relationship of trust. These three are more essential elements to our success.
Wonderful. While you still have the microphone, I'd like to ask you as well, what would some of the users of your program say?
Okay, users' voice, we got many testimonials. So let me read out from one of these testimonials. From Hilton Herald, Chief of Pampanga River Basin Flood Forecasting and Warning Center, Pagasa Department of Science and Technology in Philippines. I had high expectations that this system will help us in providing timely and accurate information to our target community in the Pampanga River Basin. being able to provide information that will help communities to prepare and respond appropriately to the possible forecasted flood situation will surely be very helpful.
Thank you. Well, how prepared could you have been with a direct quote from a user? Fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. Amos, do you have anything additional you want to share with regard to the user's perspective?
Because I have another to share, because I'm just looking at one of the users from Senegal, and something which is very important. One particular thing which came up strongly is that in Africa, we have the Great Green Wall. And this is a very huge area with a lot of, in terms of the economic development, is huge. In terms of the transformation, is huge. It's going to affect water resources, energy development, and all of this. And one thing that we realized that was important is that with all these initiatives, with LDN flagship, we need to have help desks. It is very important to have help desks. Very, very important. And I'm happy Senegal is here and the CSE is trying to see if they can support the LDN flagship to have a help desk that can speak in the language, the culture, and the religion of the people. Because this is extremely important.
Thank you. Excellent points. One last round of applause for our speakers today. And the incredible points that they have shared. I would now like to open it up to you all in the GEO delegations. If you would like to make an intervention, please raise your, I was going to say flag, but I think it's actually your name plate. And also, remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your intervention. And if you could please state before you speak whether you are making a statement to share with all, or if you have a specific question to ask. If you mention that you have a question, that will cue our panelists to be prepared to answer. Thank you. Now, I want to go in the order that they are coming, and let me ask the delegation from South Africa, please, to speak.
Thank you. I just want to pose a question to the GeoGlam. Because we've seen a significant impact that GeoGlam had globally. And therefore, I just want to find out what role has the GeoGlam Secretariat played, and what are some of the lessons you can give to other GEO initiatives? Thank you.
That's a great question. Thank you very much. First of all, over 90% of the resources that go into GeoGlam have come from in-kind resources, but there's a little bit that has gone into supporting the GeoGlam Secretariat, and that is basically the glue that has held the community together all these years. And I should probably acknowledge, I try not to acknowledge too many countries because there's so many that are involved, but in particular Germany, Canada, and the UK have been important to support the GeoGlam Secretariat. That type of funding is very difficult to get, but it's very essential. It's such a small piece of the whole picture, but it allows people to dedicate their whole working time to bringing the community together, providing coordination, and so on. So it's very important. I think that's a lesson that we learned early on, to have a good, strong secretariat, but not overburdened with administration or anything, just a quite simple approach. And I'd also put a call out to the community. Those resources are finite, and if anybody is interested in supporting GeoGlam or any of these other wonderful initiatives, I'm sure we'd all very much welcome that.
Thank you. We now have an intervention from China.
Thank you very much. congratulations to all the awardees and the highlight reports. All these show the great value of Earth observation and some big achievements of GEO community. Amidst Huang Weijiang's achievement stands as a notable representation of the GWP program contributed or led by China. Other projects are currently processing smoothly and have reached several significant milestones. I would like to note the following points. First, for the mining subsidence damage program, ground observation sample datasets, subsidence identification methods, and software tools have been applied in typical mining regions of China and Pakistan, contributing significantly to the sustainable development of the mining area on a global scale. Secondly, open data websites for alpine and polar cold regions, the Polar Spatial and Temporal Information Platform, and the digitized optical waterway environmental survey system have played a crucial role in advancing polar research and scientific studies. These results have also been seamlessly integrated into the GEO portal. Third one is that the public data products, including the Central Asia Regional Knowledge Hub and the Central Asia Belt and Road Regional Ecological Monitoring Consortium and the Global 30 meters resolution land cover dataset, have been successfully developed and made accessible to the GEO community. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Just to clarify, you did not have a question in your statement. Great. Okay. Thank you for your intervention. I would like to invite the European Commission, please.
Yes, hello, good morning. This is a very short statement. The European Commission likes to congratulate the awardees. We're, of course, also particularly very happy about the award to the Blue Planet Office or the Blue Planet Initiative, and as proud co-sponsors of the European Office. But generally, I think it also exemplifies the great success of the various GEO initiatives as nicely presented in the highlights report, that we will disseminate and encourage everybody, the GEO Secretariat, but actually everybody in the room, to use the channels you have to widely disseminate it, because it really shows the impact that GEO creates. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, I would like to invite the Senegal delegation.
Thank you, Chair. We want to raise 2 points. The first point is the balance between North and South in generating this kind of information. If you take countries like US or European Union, hundreds of institutions, thousands of researchers. In Africa, few institutions and few researchers to address all the GEO things, the GEO XX, GeoGlam, GEO whatever. It's the same type of people. They get very quickly overwhelmed. I think strategically we should think, beside capacity building, how to help develop specific program for critical mass building for the kind of activities we are doing. The second point is about cross-fertilization between the GEOs. I can see bridges between Blue Planet and GLOWS, talking about plastic. The end point of plastic is ocean water. GLAM and LDN, you can't talk about crop monitoring without talking about land degradation neutrality, but also the DICE, the GIAS and GLOWS, or the GLAM and PDRS. I don't know if strategically GEO can think of, say, cutting the middle point in between those programs and trying to substantiate a cross-fertilization process between GEO programs. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for your intervention and for pointing out the connections between, or potential connections between programs. That is why we are here, to learn about each other's works, to find opportunities to complement and to amplify. Next, I would like to invite the delegation from Ecuador.
Good morning, everyone. From Ecuador, we welcome the different GEO implementations and instances in the region. It has been, the country has been developing its data sets from all the government institutions. Open data is becoming a staple, including the integration between spatial data sets. The recent national census aggregates spatial information at the city block level and lower. From Secretary of Risk Management, we've developed a national hazard information system with a spatial catalog and spatial data infrastructure. All the current GEO developments with AmeriGEO as GEO glows and the land degradation spatial data sets have a great impact and improve the local capacities manifold. We've used those developments for early warning against flood, and they also the monitoring of land degradations, neutrality targets. We have even worked with a humanitarian OpenStreetMaps team to do some mapathons and develop prevention maps before El Niño comes over to the country. So we welcome all these instances and are grateful for the help, and the country is ready and ripe for all the GEO developments in the region. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Ecuador. I would like to invite the UNCCD for your intervention, please.
So it's a statement, and first and foremost, I just really appreciate the presentations all across the board. They're fantastic, and I love the work going on in GEO. I would respond to the comments made by several of you about what we call inside of GEO-LDN sustainability. Actually, the very first meeting of the GEO-LDN flagship, it was listed as the #1 task of the Secretariat, even though it had just received a very generous contribution from the government of Germany, was how do we move towards sustainability? And it is I guess the way we look at it is that from a governance point of view, the link of what happens at the GEO Secretariat and what happens in these flagships and how we move towards sustainability so that everybody wins is something that needs further consideration. It's not an obvious path. I also really appreciate the suggestions made by several of you about integration, collaboration, maybe even merging of some of these. For example, the GEO-GLAM, GEO-LDN connection is very obvious. In GEO-LDN, as I pointed out yesterday, we're dealing with conservation, we're dealing with sustainable land management, we're dealing with restoration, and GEO-GLAM has the ag part of this nailed. If we bring those data sets to bear, we don't have to tell planners where the ag is. It's understood because it's already mapped. We don't have to recreate that. So we're already going down that path, but it is ad hoc, and I agree, it needs to be more systematic. Thank you.
Thank you for your intervention. I would now like to invite India, please.
Our efforts to make global water sustainable, but the global water is depleting everywhere. What are the impact? The impact is on subsidence, coastal subsidence, threat to earthquake, and apart from that, water quality is declining because we have to exploit the water from the deep boreholes, and that is a big problem. Thank you.
Thank you, India. I would now like to invite a participating organization, the Mountain Research Institute, please.
Thank you very much for giving the Mountain Research Initiative the floor as a participating organization of GEO. This is the first time I take the floor, so I would like to also, first of all, thank the host for this amazing event and everyone for making us feel very welcomed here. I would like to make a statement, a very short statement. First of all, congratulating and commending the efforts of our colleagues for the GEO work program activities that have been featured this morning. I think it's important that we recognize the key efforts that are made in work program activities in support of the GEO vision. GEO Mountains, which is the global network on observations and information in mountain environments, it's a GEO work program initiative that also relates very much to the experiences of many of the colleagues that have expressed their experiences this morning. For instance, on the importance of the support given by GEO members and others to support the coordination activities of their efforts. I think this is important to underscore. These impact stories also underscore the value that we need to ensure is supported throughout the work program as it moves forward into this post-2025 period. Finally, I would also like to underscore the importance of the support given by Switzerland for GEO Mountains, as has been the case for GeoGlam in the important support given by Germany and others. I think these are important recognitions to be given. And this, I would like to end my statement. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for your intervention. So last but not least, I would like to invite the Mexico delegation, please.
Here. Hello, morning, everyone. The first thing is that Mexico recognized all the importance of all the work that we are doing, particularly in the America region. And only to mention that our last agricultural census 2022, the use of the satellite images was a key tool in the project. They were used to identify and map the country's agricultural, livestock, and forestry land, allowing for a more efficient selection of sampling units and more accurate information about the agricultural production. We use more than 80,000 images to select this sample. This is my comment. And I have, on the other hand, I have a particular question to Lilian Diarra about the relationship that you have as a Blue initiative with the high-level panel of the ocean, and particularly on the provision of information and data for more than 16 topics and access thematic topics, as well as the generation and indicators to data hub that they are developing now. Thank you.
Thank you for your question, and unfortunately, I'm not able to answer it because I don't know. But we can have a chat afterwards, and I can put you in contact with my colleagues who would know this answer. Thank you.
Thank you. I will be happy to share this.
So I'm going to ask one last time, are there any other interventions from our delegations? This is your last opportunity if you would like to make one. If not, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for your attention, for your participation, for your creative thinking, for connecting, as we say, the dots, although I like to say connecting the people, so that we can, this is an expression from a reference to a TV show years ago in the United States, become bigger, better, more bionic, but to amplify and improve the work we have already done to date. Our panelists have underlined key principles that drive success within the GEO framework. User-centric design, interdisciplinary, capacity building with an eye towards sustainability. These principles will serve as the cornerstone for for the future direction of GEO initiatives, fostering new ideas, new operational models, and inspiring the next generation of groundbreaking endeavors. As we conclude this session, let's carry forward the spirit of innovation and, of course, collaboration, which is really the heart of what we do in GEO. Let's channel the energy and the insights shared today to pave the way for a GEO that not only envisions a better world, but actively works to shape it. Together, let's forge a future where GEO's endeavors continue to make a tangible difference in safeguarding our planet. And if there's one quote I'd like to emphasize today that we heard, I'm going to attribute this to Amos, who said, "Let's unlearn the negative and learn the positive." Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carrie. Could we please get another round of applause for this panel, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you. I think it's absolutely remarkable. Congratulations to the panelists and their teams for a sterling job. Well done indeed on your achievements. And I think I'm reminded at this point by the words of Thabo Mbeki, former head of state here in South Africa, who spoke about the importance of never tiring and never giving up. He says, "Those who complete the course will do so only because they do not, as fatigue sets in, convince themselves that the road ahead is still too long, the inclines too steep, the loneliness impossible to bear, and the price itself of doubtful value." And so we wish you well as you continue this outstanding work. Do not grow weary in doing good, because in due season you will reap if we faint not. Ladies and gentlemen, speaking about good work, I'm excited now to introduce Nicoletta Panta. She's the Chief of Partnerships and Communications. She's going to give us a very special announcement of some even more outstanding work. So could we please welcome her with a round of applause as we usher out our previous panel as well. Thank you.
Doesn't work? It works. Well, good morning, dear friends of the world, the friends of the earth. This week, we agreed that the earth is talking, I think shouting even, and it will keep talking. This year, GEO Secretariat worked on building a platform to amplify the Earth's voice, to make sure it stays loud, clear, and heard by millions. And we've built our new public-facing website. Everybody was waiting for it. It's something we discovered last year in the monitoring and evaluation report developed by GEO Secretariat. And I'm very proud to invite on the stage Rick Bynes. And I know we also have online watching us Alexander and Yulia, the team who is behind this new website. I'd like to thank them for this amazing work and to tell you that they invested lots of love and care to build this website within 8 months. This is something that no one else is able to do. So with that in mind, let's go to the first slide. I'll do a short summary, and then Rick, who is the expert, will run you through the details. So what do we want to do with this new public website? What it will do for us, for the GEO community, for the earth? It will help increase the brand awareness and credibility of GEO, because a good website is about credibility. Provide information and generate leads. In translation, it means making people act, not just read our information, but take action and help the earth, listen to the earth, and react to what the earth is asking for. engage with target audiences, and go beyond our GEO community, engage externally with communities outside through interactive tools, present solutions through our Genius work programs, and offer an improved user experience. What does this mean? Rick is going to tell you a bit more, but I can tell you that we finally are going to have a search function for our website. We're going to have a very nice look and feel consistent across all our communication outputs. We went so far that we're making sure the people who are colorblind can watch and read and find our website very accessible, and lots of other fancy things that Rick knows about. I'm going to finish with that and just say that in addition to the website that we are launching today after this session, so you'll be navigating it following this session, we'll be working on a brand book next year. It's something that GEO has never had. So we will be developing a new brand book, a visual identity for the entire community, and we really hope you will embrace it. With that in mind, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Nicoletta. So I'm going to run you through some features of the new website. It's been a hell of a road, and it comes all together here now in a few seconds, this presentation. So I am a bit nervous. But let's walk you through the user experience following the presentation of Nicoletta. So we have made it such that the website will promote community building, will use engaging visuals, and provide you with an interactive experience. So it's not going to be dull, in other words. We also improved the multi-device support, so if you use your laptop or your phone or an iPad, it's all the same, especially also high-resolution screens of these days. The website will still look beautiful and functional. So we went for a consistent look and feel, which is important. It's also important for branding, for the going out to the public. So this is a preview of a part of the home page. As you can see, we have just a top menu. We have a major message for you, Earth observations for impact. And then we have some cards that mention the important parts that you have to click on, as we call leads, so you'll be informed or act upon. So we did also some work on navigation, because each of us have different ways of navigating a website, different ways of clicking on buttons and expect different things. So you saw the main menu in the previous slide, the top menu, but we'll also have made what we call the hamburger menu. It's in the top left corner. You can open it, and you have an overview of almost the whole website. You can just click anywhere to go to a specific page. We introduced, as Nicoletta said, a powerful search function, which was never there before. The search function is actually indexing all data live when we upload it to the new website, and provides you with the results in a nice structured way, so like documents, information about members, information about GEO work program activities, etc. So we talked a lot. This is our banner introducing our new website. But before we go there, I would like to thank all the people that Nicoletta also already mentioned, but I would like to thank Nicoletta herself for her guidance, her support, and her trust for me to run this project. So the next part is a video of some of the features of the GEO website. We didn't take the chance to do a live demo. As you know, they never work. But this video will work. So there we go.
Thank you so much. Once again, I want to say thank you to Alexandra and Yule if they are watching us. Thank you. And one special thank you goes to Andrew, who last night, while we were partying, put this video together. So thank you, Andrew, for that. As I mentioned earlier, and Rika also is going to confirm, the link for the new website will be live after this session. But we would like also to flag the fact that some of the data is still being transferred, so you'll be able to access both the new and the old website while we're still fine-tuning and tweaking some elements. Did I say it all right, Rick? Yes, good. Thank you so much, and I guess enjoy your coffee break, right? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a coffee break. We'll be back at 11 o'clock. See you shortly. Ladies and gentlemen, may I kindly have your attention once more? Could we please take our seats so that we can continue with the 7th session for the day? May we take our seats, please, so that we can continue. I trust that you've enjoyed the coffee break and being able to stretch your legs a little bit, catch up with one or two people, and let us continue. I trust that you're ready for another exciting session of GEO's coordinated approach to national and global engagements. It's time for us to bridge the gap. Well, this session discusses national GEO coordination efforts and country-level EO initiatives in bridging national and global engagements. The moderator for this session, ladies and gentlemen, is Yuqi Bai, who is a full professor at the Tsinghua University. May we please welcome our moderator and panel with a round of applause. Over to you.
Dear GEO member delegates and representatives of GEO participating organizations and the GEO social members, dear GEO secretary teams and the ladies and gentlemen, welcome to session 7, Bridging the Gap, GEO's coordinated approach to national and global engagements. I'm very honored to coordinate this session for you. I'm Yuqi from Tsinghua University. Today, we really have a very privileged to have 5 panelists to share their vision, their perspectives, and the lessons learned and even reflections with us. So they are Dr. Ernest Apeng from Capacity Development Coordinator, GEO Secretary. Rahan Juman, Deputy Director, Institute of Marine Affairs, Trinidad and Tobago. Marilyn Cove Menezes, Geographer, National Meteorological Institute, Costa Rica. Evangelos Gerospoulos, Director, National Observatory of Athens, Greek GEO Office. Shannon Kanya, Director, Transformation, Innovation and Engineering Division, Environment and Climate Change, Canada. So, ladies and gentlemen, over the past 2 decades, GEO has been very successful and championed free and open access to Earth observation data, leading to informed environment decisions, economic opportunities, and the principles of open data and open knowledge. As GEO enters the next decade, we aspire to embrace a new vision where a world where Earth intelligence is universally accessible and trusted, contributing to a sustainable future. So strengthening country-specific and country-coordinated efforts will be crucial for advancing this vision and aligning global EO imperatives with national priorities. So therefore, national coordination mechanisms are vital for realizing GEO's global mission of collective Earth intelligence and bridging the gap between the national and the global engagement in EO. So this session is specially designed, and we will discuss national efforts, initiatives, the underlying dynamics and imperatives for strengthening country-level coordination to bridge the gap between the national and the global level engagements. So suppose it will aim to provide good insights and inspire more countries to consider the contributions they can make in the future. So I hope you will gain insights into how countries, through national engagement, can contribute to GEO's vision and force collaboration between global and local, and between local and local. So during this 1 hour and 50 minutes, we will cover brief reports to each panelist, question and answer, plenary interventions, and the final wrap-up. So now let's invite Dr. Ernest Apeng to the podium to begin your presentation.
very good afternoon. Is it still morning? Yeah. So good morning to you all. I hope you enjoyed your coffee. Yes. So thank you two once again for the introduction. As we look forward to the post-2025 agenda, it has become clear to us, as we've all been here, that coordination action for global equity through accessible Earth intelligence becomes a critical part of our community moving forward. In this light, the national coordination mechanism becomes a very critical aspect. At the 58th and 60th, let me check. Good. At the 58th and 60th GEO Executive Committee's meeting, the national coordination mechanism was introduced as an approach that can support country-level access to Earth observation data for countries to address their needs in terms of institutional synergy and help countries coordinate their responses to identified needs and challenges. ESCOM affirmed their support and deemed the approach a very relevant approach towards the post-2025 agenda. But what it means is that countries that have experiences over the years in terms of national coordination through their national GEOs can share their experiences, but at the same time help support emerging countries that are keen to also set up their national GEOs. Now, what do we mean when we talk about national coordination mechanism, and why is it very relevant as a tool that can support GEO's impact at the country level? First of all, let me clarify that the national coordination mechanism as an approach is not binding countries to set up a coordination mechanism or set up a national GEO. But what it does is that it provides a framework to promote institutional synergies and interagency coordination. And it also facilitates a shared understanding of the values of Earth observation in shaping policies, decisions, and driving impactful actions. Second, it guides the planning and execution of coordinated responses to identified issues whilst bringing clarity and transparency to the roles and responsibilities of different stakeholders within the national coordination process. Lastly, it amplifies the value and role of national GEOs as a vital link to the connection between global and national engagement. Speaking of national GEOs, we are here today to listen to some experiences from various countries and how it becomes critical for the community to support national coordination effort. Now, what are national GEOs? I try to put it in perspective as I considered various national coordination mechanisms in different countries. National GEOs serve as coordination mechanism for convening, sharing knowledge, and leveraging expertise and resources from various sectors within the country to address priorities that have been identified. They play several essential roles, including but not limited to coordinating stakeholders' engagement, playing a leading role, providing guidance and optimizing effort to address national EO needs, but at the same time, they act as national representative when it comes to unifying a voice that can be represented at a regional and global level. It is also important to note that when you have a national GEO, it helps you facilitate Earth observation information acquisition and access for informed decision making. Now, over the past 1.5 years, what we've been doing at the GEO Secretariat, together with the various stakeholders from the different countries, is to try and help collect information on best practices, experiences that can help countries who have shown interest to establish a national coordination mechanism to address EO needs in their countries. What we found out was that there are varying models in different countries. But what is also very important is the commonalities when it comes to how they function. And some of the key functions we saw were that they have a clear mandate, well-defined objectives and goals. At the same time, a lot of these national GEOs had a form of an annual strategy or plan that helped them in their operations. It is also made up of a pool of experts who are helping and advising government when it comes to EO priorities in the country. But what became very important for us is the aspect of having a long-term commitment, sustainable funding, and how they have a secretariat that helps coordinate operations within the country so that they have a common voice that addresses the needs in the country. Of course, there are various challenges that national GEOs face, and I believe we're going to hear from our speakers with experiences to share with us. But it is also important to know that there is always the challenge of managing or coordinating various institutions at the national level when they have different objectives, where you want to bring it together as a common voice. Funding and infrastructure becomes a challenge when you're talking about how you coordinate EO needs in a country that has different geographical dimensions. But at the same time, what becomes very true is the fact that having a national GEO is very beneficial because it brings various stakeholders together and they're able to formulate a plan that helps address needs in the country. One of the key aspects of our finding is the fact that countries have come forth, especially those with advanced national GEOs, and are willing to support countries that have expressed interest to establish their own national GEOs. And this is something that we can take forward when we are looking at how countries can establish a bilateral as well as trilateral cooperations, with the GEO Secretariat forming, being a part of it in facilitating and convening these engagements. In conclusion, I would say that a well-established national GEO is very critical and important in advancing the vision that we have in the post-2025 agenda. It helps align global aspirations to national and country needs, capacity, and promote Earth intelligence as a catalyst for sustainable future. The GEO Secretariat is committed to offering guidance and support to countries that have shown interest, but at the same time, we are looking forward to countries that are willing to share with new countries, willing to support them with resources, and willing to guide them to have their own context revealed as far as advancing Earth observation is concerned. On that note, let me say thank you once again.
So thank you very much, Ernest. And your report did send a very clear message. National coordination mechanism is very important. It is doable, actionable, and it is desirable. So thank you very much, Ernest. So now let's invite Rohanna Juman from Trinidad and Tobago to the stage to begin her speech.
Hi, good morning, everyone. So as you would have heard, Trinidad and Tobago is one of the newest members of GEO. We just joined in September. So we're at the stage where we're basically at an infancy stage, and we're now going to go towards developing our national GEO. So I'm just going to talk about, first of all, right. So first of all, I'm the GEO principal, and my institution, the Institute of Marine Affairs in Trinidad, is going to be leading this initiative. And I think we're well placed to do this because we're a government-funded research institute with a legal mandate to collect, analyze, and disseminate information related to the economic, technological, environmental, social, and legal developments in marine affairs, and to advise on policy intervention. And even though we're focused on marine and coastal issues, because we're a tiny island, the entire island could be considered coastal. So a lot of everything that happens on land impacts on the ocean. So we have to have this integrated approach to management. Now, the Institute itself has 45 years of experience doing multidisciplinary research. So we think that we're basically a good neutral broker among state agencies to foster this collaboration. Now, in terms of Earth observation in Trinidad and Tobago, and some of the things we've been doing already, using Earth observation in terms of habitat mapping, seagrass and coral reef, looking at mangrove forest change detection and carbon quantification, shoreline change analysis and coastal flooding, fisheries management, oil spill detection and monitoring. And pretty soon we would want to move into things like sargassum forecasting on a local level. So earlier on we heard about the sargassum hub that we depend on, but wanted to do it in a localized level. And that's important because in Trinidad and Tobago we're talking, and in the Caribbean, post-COVID, we're talking about developing the blue economy, because most of us have more ocean space than we have land space. As a matter of fact, Trinidad has 15 times more ocean space than land space. So a lot of our focus is developing economic activities. And even for things like sargassum, there's an effort to see how we can utilize sargassum to create products. And you need to know your source of sargassum, where it's coming in, so that you could collect it as fresh as possible. In terms of even ocean health monitoring, that would be critical for mariculture, looking at where you can actually utilizing Earth observation data to do multi-criteria analysis to find out what areas would be suitable for placement of marine cage cultures and so forth. What is critical and what is, it transcends different departments within the government is when we deal with environmental incident responses. And some of this is looking at our ability to, for reporting environmental incidents, as oil spill, fish kills, and so forth, but most importantly, dealing with things like disaster risk reduction, coastal flooding. That would be critical, and that would be engaging for all the different agencies within Trinidad and Tobago. In terms of fostering national and regional coordination, with regards to the national coordination, we have, setting up the national and GEO, also too, we are the focal point for the global ocean observation system. So how do we integrate all these different data sets? And building upon existing initiative. So we have an integrated coastal zone management committee that is going to be reappointed to basically implements an integrated coastal zone policy that was just recently approved, and using the same mechanism, because that committee is a multi-sectoral committee that have already engaged in a lot of stakeholder engagements and so forth. And then, of course, the regional project we're involved in terms of oil spill monitoring. And we're part of a region made up of over 28 countries and overseas dependencies, the Caribbean Sea, and therefore we also have to manage resources regionally. And doing that at regional coordination, again, has to be built on existing initiative. And one of the initiatives that has been developed is ocean coordination mechanism under the project known as Protecting and Restoring the Ocean National Capital, Building Resilient and Supporting Regional-Wide Investment for Sustainable Blue Economic Development in the Caribbean and the Northern Marine Ecosystems, or the Pro-Caribe project. So looking at using those existing mechanisms to create that for coordination. And one of the initiatives as well is creating a digital map, Caribbean digital twin prototype for the region. So again, in terms of our coordination, it's about building the partnerships, and these are some of the partners and affiliates, not only in terms of the government agencies, but also with public sector, private sector businesses, as well as academia, as well as regional institutes. We have a number of IGOs, intergovernmental organizations, operating as well in the Caribbean, and coordinating activities among those agencies as well, so that to avoid duplication. So this can be built, this national GEO and this regional coordination, again, can be built into national already existing initiative. And with that, I thank you very much.
So thank you very much, Hannah, for demonstrating a very unique local need and also a very unique solutions for decision makers in your country. Thank you very much. So now let's ask Marilyn Mendez from Costa Rica come forward to start her presentation.
Good morning, everybody. I'm very happy to be here with all of you and to share about our experience. The purpose of my presentation today is to share with you my experience in the execution of this year's AmeriGeo Week in Costa Rica as an event that promotes the creation of national geos and makes possible the beginning of a national coordination. After the creation of AmeriGeo in 2014, the coordination working group was tasked with identifying regional activities that could be leveraged for better regional collaboration. The first AmeriGeo Week was hosted by Colombia in 2016, and the following years, the event was hosted by Costa Rica, Brazil, Peru, El Salvador, Mexico, these two last virtual due to COVID, Paraguay, and then returned to Costa Rica in 2023. Towards the future, Ecuador will host in 2024, Colombia in 2025, and Guatemala in 2026. The AmeriGeo Week occurring in August of this year, and the week from 7 to 12 in Costa Rica on the facilities of the University of Costa Rica. And to carry out an event like this, interinstitutional participation within the country and regional is fundamental. Costa Rica has hosted AmeriGeo on 2 occasions, and on both of them, the coordination has been in charge of the Ministry of Environment as the government agency representing the country before GEO, excuse me, in partnership with the University of Costa Rica. Under the leadership of these 2 agencies and AmeriGeo Regional Coordination Group, we had several national institutions involved in the planning of the event and participating on the different activities carried out during the week. It is important to say that national coordination was only achieved through the land cover and land use monitoring system, which called CIMOCUTE, which for several years has brought together a large number of government institutions from the environment and agriculture sectors, the academy, and private organizations on a topic of interest to the entire country. Lands and ecosystems monitoring to respond to different national and international goals and commitments. CIMOCUTE has been a strategic platform for the coordination of our national GEO since several years ago. This partnership facilitated the convening and joint work for the celebration of AmeriGeo Week in Costa Rica. Through this experience, I'm now sure that it is concrete activities such as the AmeriGeo Week that provide greater awareness of the available resources, tools, and multiple applications of Earth observations. It is an ideal platform to publicize the work carried out by different research teams, institutions, local, national, and regional organizations. Besides, AmeriGeo Week is an excellent opportunity to bring together actors from different research areas working with Earth observations in a common space for discussion, exchange of experiences, learning, and joint work. From my perspective, AmeriGeo Week was a successful activity. Through several workshops, plenaries, webinars, and forums, it facilitated and enhanced coordination within our country and the creation of a national GEO. It was a concrete activity that brought together users, researchers, and decision makers and brought back real, practical, and accessible the Earth observations to respond to the urgent needs of the country. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much, Marilyn, for sharing very good practices in integrating regional GEO and the national activities. So now let's have Evangelos Gyrossopoulos from Greece to stand up and begin his report.
Okay, thank you, Yuki. Hello, everybody. So I will try, in brief, to give you some insights about the way the Greeks are doing it, how we are trying to coordinate ourselves in what we are saying like national coordination mechanism. So starting from the basics, the Greek GEO office has been operating since 2007 under the National Observatory of Athens, and it's supervised by the General Secretariat of Research and Innovation from Ministry of Development. So why we created a coordination mechanism like this? Because we wanted, first of all, to address the need for a permanent coordination at the national level and make sure that we interface between GEO and the Greek state. We wanted to find some channels to push for Earth observation exploitation when it comes to national strategic planning. To promote collaborations and create environment for synergies within the Greek landscape, to map, of course, the Earth observation capacities, gaps, needs, skills that exist in the country. This is an important step. And then the last 2 points, I will reserve it for a while. So in order to achieve this mandate, the structure of the Greek GEO office has been relied on specific thematics that came out from prioritization at the national level, but also looking at the interests and assets of the Greek GEO office, and that would be urban resilience and sustainable urbanization, climate change impacts on cultural heritage and natural heritage, sustainable development goals. So I'll get back to the last 2 bullets, which is to promote Earth observation for informed decision-making and raising awareness, and highlight the leadership of Greek EO actors in different domains at the international stage. So through the examples that will follow, I will try to give you the spirit that we are trying to do the job. So I have divided this into levels of impacts. First of all, local impacts and how we are trying to support different policies. First of all, I have to say that in absence of some stable, secured funding coming from national resources or else, we base our activities mostly on research and development attraction of funds. So in this aspect, for example, we have been in touch through the eShape project with the National Public Health Organization of the Ministry of Health, which served as one of our main co-designers in order to deliver a platform for a National Environmental Health Observatory, a platform that combines health data with environmental information in order to inform decision making. Another area, a policy priority, is when it comes to national and regional adaptation planning for climate change, when again, through different projects that we have been running and funding coming from the region, we were able to project information in the future about very critical parameters that are needed for adaptation. And of course, we have been highlighting the use of Earth observation in this effort. Coming to a totally different area, we have been trying to exploit on the knowledge gained from the SDGs work that is being held in GEO, and turn it a little bit more to official statistics. We have been in touch with European SDSN and UN SDSN and trying to find ways to monitor specific indicators with the use of Earth observation, and this has been done under a memorandum of understanding with Hellenic Statistics, and also we have managed to interface through other resources for reporting directly to Eurostat, for example, specific reports having to do with air quality directive, and break down the information to the municipality level, etc., etc. Finally, another pathway to increase impact has been by bringing new players. Here we have an example that through the Eiffel projects, actually we brought in the building's energy efficiency community in the discussion. We heard yesterday about the buildings and how important it is for heating. So we got this community to be aware of Earth observation and become gradually part of us. Going to the global footprint that we are trying to establish, then our motto here is think big but act bigger. So in this essence, we have been leading the efforts for establishing resilient cities and human settlements as the fourth priority engagement. We are amongst those countries, or maybe the only one, that have put people in the European UNGGIM and trying to follow specific work lines there that can help us actually combine socioeconomic data with national data, with Earth observation, and actually deliver added value. And of course, no need to say much, we already have two initiatives in GEO Cradle, and the Urban Heritage Climate Observatory. So, to finish with, this does not need to start from robots and state-of-the-art big computers and artificial intelligence. It's just real people behind the scenes that are self-motivated and active, and they find their way to be remotivated and sustained in the system that can start a national coordination mechanism. And why is this important, and why is this important, and why Greece is now standing in this panel? Despite our long history, I would consider ourselves, with respect to population and size, as a I'm thinking of the steak, as a medium-small country, which means that most of the countries here would identify themselves with a country like Greece. So if we can do it, then everybody can do it. And sometimes when you see the giant up there, it's difficult to start thinking that you can make it. But let's think that all of us, we are small giants, and small giants can really make a real local impact, which is what we want now. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Evangelist, for presenting success stories on strengthening national GEO and on supporting policy-making process. Thank you. So now let's welcome Shannon Kaya from Canada to the podium to start her presentation.
Thank you, Yuki. Good morning or afternoon. Again, my name is Shannon Kaya, and I'm from the Meteorological Service of Canada, and it's a pleasure to be here to share our perspective based on Canada's experience building our National GEO Office and Secretariat and connecting our National GEO community. It's been about 5 years in Canada that we made a shift with the appointment of our new GEO principal, Mr. David Harper, to organizing ourselves more around our GEO community. Canada's been involved in GEO much longer than that. It's been close to 20 years. And over the many years, 15 years or so, we found that we had a lot of growth in our participation in GEO, but it was very dispersed across the country and not well connected, not a community that was working towards a common goal. So this is really what precipitated the development of the Canadian GEO Office or Secretariat. I kind of use those terms interchangeably, but would emphasize that we shouldn't be intimidated by the term Secretariat, National Secretariat, or National GEO Office. In fact, in Canada, it is one person, so it sounds like more than it is, but not a huge investment in resources, but something that has been huge in terms of benefits for Canada and our participation in GEO. So we have one person running the Canadian GEO Secretariat, if you will, supporting our GEO principal, as well as myself as director responsible for the GEO Secretariat. That same person participates on the GEO Program Board, along with another Canadian, of course, and then we have many Canadians participating in the GEO community. One thing I would like to mention I'm sorry, I missed moving the slide. There we go. One thing I'd like to mention is the strong relationship and leadership linkages between our national GEO community in Canada and our national satellite Earth observation initiatives. There are common players, overlapping goals, and a lot of commonalities in approaches. And in fact, it's our GEO principal who led the development of a coordinated, cohesive strategy for satellite Earth observation in Canada very recently. It was released in January 2022. And there is a QR code on this slide if you're interested in it. International partnerships and GEO specifically are mentioned in our strategy, and so the work that we do in Canada around Earth observation, we actively seek to advance that work in alignment with the priorities of GEO and our relationships with several international organizations. As we learned about the Canadians involved in GEO over the years, we discovered that Canada participates in both GEO and AmeriGEO communities actively, including initiatives, working groups, and flagships, and it really did take several years to kind of understand the landscape of GEO participation in Canada. We have participants on the working group, and as I mentioned, on the GEO program board. And through our involvement with GEO, we share expertise and data and knowledge to benefit both our national programs that I've mentioned and services that contribute to our global priorities. All of these activities were happening in isolation for many years, and it's the efforts towards building our national GEO office that brought them all together to provide a good overall picture of Canada's contributions to and benefits from GEO. This is reflected in our country statement. I'm sure many in the room here can relate to the annual effort of putting together a country statement for these GEO weeks, and indeed the development of our national GEO office capacity has facilitated that to a much greater extent, and that has improved the quality and the comprehensiveness over the years of our country statements. Under the leadership of our GEO principal, Canada continues to grow our national GEO community, and a large part of that is encouraging international collaboration with our Canadian private sector. We believe that industry can help advance innovation in GEO activities, and their engagement is really critical to developing global solutions. One of the primary functions of the Canadian GEO Secretariat has been to establish those linkages to our private sector. Several years ago in Canberra, we brought 11 companies from Canada to the GEO Week there. We have 2 with us this year in Cape Town, and so this is an effort that we make every year to include our private sector. Finally, Canada continues to strengthen and build its international partnerships and makes quite an effort to tie to other global communities. The national GEO, or this mechanism that we have created and established, is key to building a strong global presence, ensuring key and consistent communication and messaging between partners, between groups, leveraging national resources effectively, and identifying synergies between existing activities and potential activities. This means that our GEO principal, David Harper, is also the lead for CGMS from Environment and Climate Change Canada. He's also head of our delegation to the WMO's Infrastructure Commission. He has led an MOU with EUMETSAT and Copernicus, and most recently, or actually next week, we'll be making a pitch for Canada's Environment and Climate Change Department to be an associate member of CEOS. In an effort to leverage synergies, avoid duplication of efforts, make those linkages between key international organizations, it's really, we see as very critical and has been a true benefit of establishing our Canadian GEO Secretariat. And again, don't get caught up on the word Canadian GEO Secretariat. It really is a very small group, a very small investment that has reaped great, great benefits for us in Canada. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Shannon, for presenting and sharing good mechanisms in Canada on national GEO development and on national and international collaborations. So let us express our gratitude to the 5 panelists, speakers with a warm applause. Thank you very much. So, shall we advance the slides? How can we advance the slides? Yeah. Oh, I can do it? Advance the slides. Yeah. There's a slides over there, yeah. Yes. Next one. Yes, next one. There we go. Okay. These are questions that we raised when designing this session. And they are for the panelists, and they are for you as well. So, I hope when you are having, interventions from the plenary, and you could kindly share with us your experiences and comments and even questions to the panelists. So now I would like to pose the, first question to the panelists. The question one, what value and contributions can National GEO provide to help GEO realize its post-2025 strategy plan for the next 10 years? Anyone would like to volunteer? Thank you, Shen.
Hello?
That's good.
Yes, so as I just mentioned, it's been a true benefit to Canada and our participation in GEO to have our coordinated office looking at our activities. And certainly as GEO moves towards implementing the post-2025 strategy, what is needed is expertise and innovation, and the only way that we're going to do that is connecting people and organizations and groups. And what we found in Canada, a very large country, of course, geographically, very small population-wise, and we had a very dispersed participation in GEO. A lot of people not really knowing what GEO does. So one of the main functions of our National GEO Office is communicating the goals and the mission and the priorities of GEO. We do regular newsletters out to our GEO community that when we started was going out to about 30 people. Now it's well over 100, 150 people and growing all the time. So it's really about communication and connecting the community so that we can achieve the goals that we're working towards.
Thank you, Shen, for brief and also informative answers to this question. So now let's move to the question two. How can GEO's efforts top-down help National GEO's development in preparing local responses to global challenges? Anyone would like to offer?
Okay, so thank you, Yuki. So I think this is a very important aspect, and we have living with this during the last many decades. So first of all, something that we neglect is the branding. When we're going to talk to our governments and competent agencies, sometimes, we researchers, sometimes when you have a global brand and a global umbrella, it makes you more credible. So ears open, and it's easier for us to convey the messages that we want to convey. So this is really important to start with. Then, practically speaking, when you have nice examples out there on how you can really downstream what is happening at the global level to local practices, this is GEO, I think, is the optimum environment for us to be informed and really transfer all these good practices and good lessons at the local stage. For example, in our case, for the SDGs, the work that has been done within GEO has been very critical to start discussing with statistical agencies and start delivering the first products. And the same stands with climate change, and when it came to the adaptation of the country and the region, then we had even a toolkit coming from GEO that we could go and talk to them. And then finally, I would say it's providing very many opportunities for networking. So local players can be pushed up into different networks, initiatives, activities for us at the European level, at the global level, which actually remobilizes efforts, and this is really great that it can happen in a country like Greece.
Thank you very much, Evangelist, for letting I know what GEO has provided and already in the pocket and ready for the national GEOs to utilize when you want to set up your national coordination mechanism. Thanks, Evangelist. So now let's move to the third question. What significant challenges did you experience during establishing the national GEO in your country, and how did you successfully address them? So I guess maybe Canada or even Greece, share a story? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Yuki. It's been recent experience for us over the last 5 years, and certainly one of the biggest challenges for us was identifying all of our participation in GEO at all levels across the country. And I'll say that the International GEO Secretariat was a big help with that. So connecting our our one person in their national office with the GEO Secretariat, who was able to identify what Canadians they knew of who were participating in GEO. So that was the first challenge, was to get a handle on sort of that. I like Evangelist's point about branding, because that was important too, is to get people to know what GEO is and what GEO does and what the values are and why you would want to be involved in GEO. So, through active communication, and I think even now as we hear about the new website, that will be a great tool to share and to have people really, when they see the GEO logo, they will know what it's about. But that takes time and communication, and we hold webinars, and as I mentioned in my presentation, we've really connected our national EO community with the GEO, with what GEO does, and so making those linkages sort of to increase the community. But it does take time. So where we were 5 years ago to now is quite a leap. But again, with small resources, it's easy to make advancements in that area.
Yeah, thank you so much. And Evangelist, do you want to add? This is
maybe very something very short. So I think a significant challenge we have been facing is how to efficiently engage with the agencies at the national level, because whatever is new and whatever seems to be disturbing their current workflows, it's like a threat. So until they really understand the benefit behind what we are trying to offer them, and for this we need actually material and argumentation, and GEO can help with this, then this engagement is difficult and can take a long time.
Thanks very much for your sharing your lessons learned from this process. A core message I got a moment ago would be Rome wasn't built in a day. It takes a time, and as long as we insist in doing that, we will finally have some kind of improvement at the end. So thank you, sharing your story with us. So now let's move to the fourth one, okay? Regarding the development and enhancement of national GEOs, what contributions do you think leading countries can make? And how can the GEO Secretariat contribute? I would like to invite Ernest to respond.
Thank you very much, Yuchi. I think Sharon mentioned quite a number of efforts by the GEO Secretariat to support countries. And over the past 1.5 years, together with the team at the Secretariat, we've been reaching out to leading countries that have established their own national GEOs. And they have been quite supportive. They have provided knowledge resources. They've provided their time and experiences to support other countries that have expressed interest. We have set up virtual platforms for communication, experience sharing. And so we are trying as much as possible to extract all these experiences, document them, and share with other countries. And this has been quite effective. We look forward to countries to come forward with their experiences. We are grateful to United States, Canada, UK, Greece, Japan, GEO, China. They have all been instrumental when it comes to the documentation of national coordination mechanism. So if you look at the information document, you will find all these details inside. And so we've been very grateful. The Secretariat is committed, and we will push ahead and make sure that we reach out to the rest of the community who are keen to set up their coordination mechanism. Thanks.
Yes, thank you very much, Ernest, for responding to this question. And I really agreed with the panelists that GEO Secretariat's efforts in the last several years are really appreciated, and which have been proven very effective. And we're looking forward to more close collaboration with you. I'm wondering whether you two could respond to this question, because from your own perspectives, what kind of support that you would like to request? Marilyn?
So as a new country, as a new member of GEO, we're here to learn, and it's really nice to learn from your own experiences. So the lessons learned, the shared experiences, what you consider best practices when you set up your national GEO, and then of course the toolkit and the guidance being provided by the Secretariat. Also too for countries, new countries as well, we would like to know more about the platforms and the technology used for data sharing and the data sharing principles. You know, you would think in small countries, you would think coordination would be a lot easier and data sharing would be a lot simpler, but it's not. And there's a lot of data available, but it's not accessible, easily accessible. How we can get that data available for decision making, that's going to be critical. And then of course we have capacity building needs, you know, development of a locally specific geospatial tool and software licenses. We always have issues in terms of software licenses. And accessibility to high resolution Earth observation data. For smaller countries like ours, we need high resolution data. We also like the opportunity to be involved in thematic working groups that have national relevance to help us achieve our international commitments. So I think, you know, whether it's the SDG or the Paris Agreement, what we can get from those and what we can contribute. And again, even as a small country, we would want to connect and contribute data to the global data sets and to the global platforms and EU repository. So these are some of the things we would benefit from and want to learn from. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks very much, Johanna, and thanks, Ernest, for responding to these questions. And we can see, you know, GeoSecret are ready, and many countries are ready as well. So now I'm going to quickly move to the next question, and also the final question. For GEO members intending to establish a national GEO mechanism, what kind of assistance do they require? So I'm wondering whether Marilyn could respond to this? Yeah, thank you.
Hello, okay. Thank you, thank you. You know, this is a great question, especially for us, the coming of developing countries. And, you know, to establish national GEO, it's a process that takes time and investment and also commitment at all levels. So it is important for us that the countries that has established national GEO can share not only their experiences, challenges, and successes, but also to walk the path with the countries that are just starting with the process. And in my experience, and also I want to bring the experience of also of Peru, because Peru has been working in developing their methodology since 2019. And I have the experience with Simacute and with GEO. And sorry. The greatest assistance is needed to properly convey the value of GEO in such a way that these organizations understand the benefits of being in GEO, participating in GEO activities. The message of the GEO value must be tailored to respond to the mission of the individual ministries and institutions. That is very, very, very important, so they can see why it's important to them to be there, to be in GEO. And so that is very important. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marilyn, for sharing your insights. And I would like to say, you know, it is the most important thing is having questions and having willingness at the front. Whenever we have a question, we can definitely find a way to go and to solve it. And so therefore, establishing GEO also is a kind of hard, but with the lessons learned and with help from the GEO Secretary, we can definitely find a solution for that. So thank you very much for the panelists for these questions. And the floor is now open for you and for your input. And if you have any for questions, we are here to listen. But before, you know, please notify, you know, our staff on both sides, yeah. And they will register, your willingness, the comments or questions or whatever, and we can receive it here. And the order of speaking is first come, first serve. Okay. Another notice, in order to allow more voices to be heard, and each speech is limited to 2 minutes, unfortunately. Okay. And the last notice, as the session remain concluded by 12:15 or something like that, right? And we can accommodate maximally 5, okay, interventions at this time. And for those who will not be able to present it here today, and you are cordially and kindly invited to direct to the content earnest, after this session. So now the floor is open, and we would like to welcome U.S. delegation.
Thank you. The United States welcomes this presentation and discussion of national coordination mechanisms. A coordinated national approach can help to maximize the impact of Earth observations for meeting a vast array of societal needs. Strong national mechanisms will help bolster impact for users and communities, as well as support greater regional coordination. In the United States, we've seen the benefits of our national coordination mechanism, the U.S. Group on Earth Observations, in maximizing the work we carry out both at the national level, but also the global level through GEO. We recognize that this is just one approach tuned to our particular governmental structure, but we believe each country must develop the appropriate mechanism to suit their structure. We welcome this opportunity to listen to the experiences of those still designing their national GEOs, share best practices, lessons learned, and provide perspectives from the U.S. experience to our fellow GEO members. Thank you.
Thank you, U.S. And now we would like to invite Ghana delegation, please.
Okay, thank you. Ghana sees the national GEO mechanism as a very important measure for developing countries to do the following. 1, duplication of resources and duplication of efforts. I think the national coordination mechanism is very key in order to bring people together. And another thing that I want to mention is that Ghana also sees this as an opportunity for GEO to revalue how new contributors can see their participation, because the national GEO should not be seen as a competitor to other initiatives, but it should be seen as a vehicle for cementing the activities. So as a result of that, Ghana, through the Ghana Space Agency, is trying to coordinate this office in order to bring all people together. And next year, we hope to bring all the necessary stakeholders. Example, from our Parliament House, because some time ago we had a data fair and it was very good. So we are bringing together the agencies that are working on statistics service, the agencies that are reporting on different SDGs, the agencies that are reporting on environmental impact assessment, for us to sit together with the academia, with the research institutions, and importantly, with the NGOs which are on the ground, for us to see how we can develop a national mechanism for addressing the issues within our country. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenna, for several minutes for us. Seconds for us. Next, we would like to invite the UK delegation, please.
Thank you very much. The UK welcomes the conversation we've just had about national coordination mechanisms, and is pleased to have been able to have been a case study in the report that was provided to plenary. We've had a strong national coordination mechanism in the UK since 2016, and more recently, in February this year, the UK government created the Department for Science, Innovation and Technology. This new department has responsibility for the National Space Strategy, which commits the UK to be at the forefront of EO technology and know-how, and importantly, to strengthen international collaborations. As part of this, the Department for Science, Innovation and Technology took on responsibility for Earth observation policy for UK government, including responsibility for GEO. The team at DCIT really do thank our colleagues at DEFRA, who were the previous GEO principals for their leadership. And I know that my colleagues from DCIT who are here today are really welcoming to meet with other delegations and to learn from the entire GEO community and to continue to support the programs that GEO is doing with UK expertise. On national coordination mechanisms, the UK office brings together the new department, the UK Space Agency, the National Centre for Earth Observations and other partners in one place to maximise the scientific and technological potential of the UK. As a coordination body in the UK, it's more wider than GEO. It also supports the UK's contribution to CEOS. And we see that by bringing these two communities together into one mechanism, it makes it easier for us to pool resources, to provide better effective engagement across the UK and the different organisations. And importantly, inside the UK, to provide greater policy and strategy alignment between GEO and CEOS. We do strongly recommend other members create national coordination mechanisms, and we'd be really happy to share our journey in setting up the UK GEO CEOS office with other members.
Thank you very much, UK, and I would like to then invite the Japan delegation. Thank you. Japan, please.
Thank you. Through our national coordination mechanism, Earth observation organizations in Japan have proceeded their activities based on an overall strategy and coordination. In the first decade of GEO, Japan has developed an overall strategy and established an expert committee for national coordination, inconsistent with GEO's 10 years implementation plan. In the past 20 years, this NCM mechanism has been helping develop Earth observation to address societal challenges in Japan. Based on our experience, we are delighted to share our experience and knowledge on NCM to the GEO community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Japan. Now we would like to invite Switzerland.
Thank you very much. Switzerland would really like to thank you for all the engagement of GEO. In particular, we welcome the efforts of the Global Ecosystems Atlas and the Global Heat Resilience Service we have seen yesterday. They bring a concrete benefit for many users and are important for the implementation of biodiversity targets and climate adaptations. Switzerland also wants to contribute to these topics, where we would like to highlight two examples of our national best practice. First example, spatial information, data and services for the federal administration are made available and publicly accessible online. The so-called GEO catalog contains a lot of GEO information. Users directly can inform themselves on a virtual map about the geolocation and spatial extent of protected areas like wildlife reserves, amphibian shifting sites, interregional wildlife corridors, and many more information relevant for the ecosystems. The second example, we introduced a heat warning system in Switzerland. The heat warning concept is based on 3 danger levels, which in turn are coordinated with health medical criteria. The population is warned by a special app and other electronic medias and newspapers. At all government levels, there are various pilot projects with regions and communities regarding heat adaptation and health. The main target is the determination of local heat islands and the development of measures for action for municipalities for adaptation to heat waves. All the information is available online in order to keep interested persons and institutions informed. We also underscore the need to optimize the GEO work program by ensuring the existing GEO work program activities are included in the GEO Nexus initiatives proposed in the post-2024 strategy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Switzerland. And now we would like to invite China, please.
Thank you, sir. National GEOs play an important role in sharing Earth observation data on the public products, offering decision-making scenarios for Earth observation applications, and facilitating the rule-based governance of GEO. The GEO post-2025 strategy emphasizes the need to enhance the development of national GEOs and foster increased collaboration on 3 distinct levels: international, regional, and national GEOs. This will pave the way for a sustainable and innovative approach to GEO's global development. China is willing to share our expertise in a ministerial coordination mechanism with the assistance of Secretariat. Thank you very much.
Thank you, China. And now we would like to invite South Africa delegation, please.
Thank you. South Africa commends the tremendous efforts for formulating the national coordination mechanism, specifically in the context of the GEO post-2025 strategy. Ensuring robust national coordination is crucial in fostering synergy between global, regional, national, and local efforts. The South African Group on Earth Observation stands as a testament to South Africa's dedication to fostering collaboration and synergy in the realm of Earth observations. We note the recommendation for contributing to support member states and strongly believe that when country takes reins of financing their initiatives, they become active contributors to the collective pursuit of understanding and managing the program. That also gives a sense of ownership as well as commitment. This financial responsibility not only ensures the sustainability of the programs, but also cultivates a sense of accountability, driving nations to actively engage in the development of national EO policies, indigenous capacity through human capital development, and capabilities through the domestic industries to generate EO applications, products, and services for their national development. South Africa would like to encourage GEO member states to make necessary investments to develop national coordination mechanisms and for the Secretariat to facilitate the connections, lessons, and share best practices. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Africa. For the time-wise, and actually I would like to report that we have received a total of 10 willingness, and I'm wondering, I would like to have your agreements on we extend this session for several more minutes so that we can accommodate all the 10, comments and speeches. Is that good? Okay, thank you very much. Now we would like to invite Italy delegation, please.
Thank you, Oki. Italy would like to Italian delegation and the Italian government strongly support the national coordination mechanism as a way to reinforce interregional and intra-regional GEO cooperation, international cooperation. Italy already established its own GEO Italy a few years ago as a way to reinforce the cooperation between research institutions, private and commercial sector. And this has been the focus also of the last EuroGeo workshop that we held just a month ago in Bolzano, Italy, where one of the focus was national coordination mechanism that was widely participated by many European countries and colleagues. And this was really very well accepted. All member states approved this approach, and Italy is supporting strongly this approach because we believe that to put on the ground and the vision of the post-25 strategy, we need really to reinforce the action at the national scale, putting around the table all the interested parties, but this cannot ignore the context of a regional framework and also the framework at the global scale. So interregional cooperation is a key for the success of GEO in the next decade. Thank you.
Thank you, Italy. And we would like to invite WGC representative, please.
Yeah, thank you. WGAC. Yeah, thank you very much. So three things. So on behalf of the World Geospatial Industry Council and our 45 members, we would really like to thank each of the panelists for your hard work developing these important coordination mechanisms. It's not easy. That's the first point. The second point is we'd like to acknowledge and then reinforce Canada's comments and now Italy's intervention about encouraging involvement of the commercial sector, at least discussions in these national coordination mechanisms. And then lastly, I'd like to come back to Trinidad and Tobago's reference. I think you were the only one that mentioned digital twins. And a couple weeks ago at GEO in Berlin, we, WGIC, tabled a report that talked about the role of geospatial information in the metaverse. And the vision that was presented in this report, it's available free of charge on our website, is that we need to do a better job of linking these digital twins. Many of our members are constructing digital twins for you or agencies in your government. And so the vision that we put forward is whether it's a digital twin of this room, this building, the city of Cape Town, the country, or the continent, or like Europe wants to do with its Destiny project. If we could somehow get these digital twins, whether it's the commercial sector or the private sector, better integrated, wouldn't that, one, ultimately build out to the universe, the metaverse, a virtual representation of the universe we live in, but doesn't that tie back to GEO's original vision of a truly integrated global Earth observation system of systems? So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Barbara. And now let's invite MRI representative, please.
Thank you, Chair, and I would like to also acknowledge and thank the contributions made by all the panelists. These are fantastic examples given at the national level efforts and also the interventions made by countries such as Switzerland. One suggestion that the MRI would like to make to GEO members and GEO work program activities is to also consider the expectations and explicit requests that are made in the UN General Assembly resolutions in proclaiming, for example, international years or decades, given that in many cases these call on member states and relevant stakeholders to also consider data and monitoring needs to help address the global challenges that a given resolution is calling attention to. These resolutions have been very useful frameworks and means for organizations such as us, the MRI, to engage with and support member states in their planned contributions as observance of these international years. Two such resolutions pertain to the International Year for Glaciers Preservation in 2025 and the 5 years of action for the development of mountain regions in 2023-2027. We have taken these international years as very concrete opportunities to highlight what countries and organizations are already doing to address data and observation gaps as called for in these resolutions. And perhaps this also is a good avenue for the GEO community to consider in order to give visibility to the existing efforts that are made across GEO. Thank you.
Thank you, MRI. And we would like to invite the very last intervention from Mexico delegation, please.
Thank you very much. I'll need to congrats to all the panelists. It's very important to know what are you doing in the regions. And in Mexico, we don't have a formal GEO national, but we are on the way to build one of them. And the only thing that we want to share with you is that we are working at the regional project named Digital Earth Americas, and it's an initiative that aims to bring together users from America region to create an open and operational experience in countries for analysis, use, and management of data to develop evidence-based public policies for decision-making. And the interinstitutional coordination mechanisms will allow us to develop regional projects to advance together in the use of Earth observations towards sustainable development in the Americas. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mexico. And we really had a very good discussion. And thank you so much for 9 countries and 2 participating organizations for your kind intervention. And as we draw to a close, could you show up the slides, please? And I would also like, to take this. No. Please show the slides. Yeah, there are 2 more slides, please. Yeah, I also would like to, not this one, the previous one, I guess. Go back. Well, as we draw to a close, I also would like also to this opportunity to share very quick my feelings with you. The first, I believe national GEOs are actually an argument. It supplements the current way of joining GEO activities. And so therefore, by integrating, the various domestic, forces, we can achieve the effect of 1 + 1 being greater than 2. And the second would be establishing national GEO represents alignment. By establishing a national coordination mechanism, we could have international, regional, and national GEOs can interact and support with each other. And the last, having national GEO is actually an advancement. They can certainly contribute, the GEO's vision and foster cooperation between global and local, and between local and local. So with that, and last but not least, supporting national GEO is actually supporting our members. So we shall, always remember GEO is of the member, by the member, and also for the member. Members talk, we listen. So let us seize the moment and work together to improve our alignment and advance our shared goals. So with this, next slide, please. So with this slide, we would like to express our appreciation to the 5 panelists, as well as to the 7 national GEOs, and for 11, who have ever provided the value, feedbacks, and comments, interventions. And I'm kindly request another round of applause, for them. And let's not forget to applaud ourselves for being with this session, with us throughout the morning sessions. So I hereby declare the session is now concluded, and enjoy your lunch. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Could we hear it one more time, please, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you to our moderator and our panelists. Long live the spirit of cooperation, collaboration, and coordination. Long live. It is beautiful to see the work that is being done. It is amazing to bear witness and testament to the great accomplishments that their teams are doing and will continue to do. Mary Church Terrell put it this way. And so, lifting as we climb, onward and upward we go, struggling and striving and hoping that the buds and blossoms of our desires will burst into glorious fruition ere long. With courage born of success achieved in the past, with a keen sense of the responsibility which we shall continue to assume, we look forward to a future large with promise and hope. So, ladies and gentlemen, indeed, as we continue to have our discussions, we look forward to a future large with promise and hope, and we shall continue to lift as we rise. It is now indeed time for us to have lunch. I have a small announcement to make just before that. Attendees, please take note that the rest of the day will be restricted sessions. They're only open for official delegations from members, participating organizations, and GEO associates. It should indicate on your card or your tag whether or not you are an official delegate. But if you do, for whatever reason, believe that you've been misrepresented and you would like to have your badge corrected, may you please report to the registration desk for us to correct and clarify matters on your behalf. With that said, do enjoy lunch. Bon appetit. Thank you very much.